and then we're going to roll with it because it's live TV. And we're here again with Adam, the heart guy. And today we're going to be talking about why empaths struggle to set boundaries. And myself and Adam, having been recovering empaths, or still empaths, whichever definition you want to get it, we want to talk about our over 100 years of experience of how we have dealt with this and how we've helped many of the people get over that boundary setting, especially if you're dealing with narcissists and people that aren't always very nice. And Adam has other words for that, but this is supposed to be child friendly today. We're going to call them something else. But anyway, before we go into further ado, Adam, let's kick off the subject with what are boundaries and what are empaths? For some of us that are watching, I know most of us know what an empath is now, but can you just give us a little bit of background on what empath and boundaries are so we can get into the topic?
That's a fair point. It's a good question too. I mean, empaths are people, in my words, that actually care. They're usually the rock that everyone falls on. They're the people that smooth the feathers after they've all been ruffled. They're the mediator. They're the person who everyone goes to trust with their problems. An emotional dumping ground could be another word for it. That's another aspect, but it's usually the good person, the person that would drop everything to help everyone else.
Yeah, and many of them go to healing, the healing modality as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, usually healers, people that are drawn to caring professions, customer service professions. They'll be the person front facing, they'll be the receptionist, they'll be the teller at the bank, they'll be the person that is customer facing. Usually an empath will find themselves into that sort of realm because they're very good with people. They understand people, very tolerant, very long fuse, very good with others. That's just part of it. That's part of the course on this journey. So that's really the definition of the empath. And when we talk about boundaries, we're really talking about the ability to have very clear, if you do this, this will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So here, let's have a classic example. If you abuse me again, if you insult me, then we're finished. And the empath is a person that's like, oh, they've just abused me again. I told them we'd be finished. Oh, but they do appear sorry this time. And so the boundary's like, ooh. A boundary is when no is no, or when you do X, Y happens, and being able to enforce it. And empaths are really bad at doing that because we want to see the best in people, but that doesn't always happen, is it? You're always looking to see the best. And even the worst people have a best side. They'll show you the best side and then revert to the norm. When they've given it an acceptable distance, aren't they? Which is why a lot of empaths get trapped with narcissists or narcissistic personalities. And this is the game for empaths, is where is the line? Where is it? So that would be my slant on it. How about yourself? How would you define what boundaries are?
Pretty much the same as you. And for me, I think coming from Britain and having traveled a lot around the world, and before my French husband dated a lot of foreign guys, they have a very different view. And I was, very much what I call a people pleaser as well. And people pleaser is different to an empath. They're different things, but I think sometimes they roll into one big ball. And for me, it's just, again, I felt that I always cared too much ever since I was little. I didn't understand why everybody didn't love each other. I was like, why do we have wars? And why doesn't everybody just love each other? And that's the thing that I couldn't get my head around. And empath really has only been a word that I've seen used in our circles probably the last 5 years, maybe 10 at a push. And the word narcissist as well, it's been around a long time, but again, it's become fashionable the last 5 years. Anyone that's an armpit arsehole, goes under the narcissist banner now. And it is a lot of people are waking up, and we've seen that, haven't we? Especially the last couple of years, Adam, that empaths have been pushed to the limit. And so we are questioning our boundaries. And some of us for many years, I didn't even know what a boundary was. Until I reached that boundary, my boundary is so far out of view, I didn't even know what it was. So now my boundaries are, I'm noticing now, especially the last year, that I've had to just put those in place. And luckily for those of you that are into vibration and being enlightened and seekers, you'll notice that lots of things have changed in the last 6 months, even where you've noticed that people that were arm hits are disappearing out of your view. They're disappearing out of your vicinity. And that's happening because you are really investing in your own energy. You are going more into positivity. You're putting those boundaries in place to protect your energy. And we're much more going into quantum physics and the understanding that frequency, sound, and light are extremely powerful. And this information has been hidden from us for a long time. So as empaths, those are tools that we're going to use to put those boundaries in place and maintain our energy. And I know we'll go into energy again in a moment. So to summarize, empaths are very much, we care too much. And so those boundaries to me are like a protection and a gauge on how far we've come on our spiritual journey. That would be my take on it, Adam. And as we're veering off into the energetic part, why do empaths struggle to even see those boundaries, Adam?
It's a really good question. And I think you've brought up something really interesting there as well, Amanda, that, all of these terms, empath, narcissists, they are sort of more recent things, aren't they? Because we've grown up having never known any of this stuff. We just have different names for calling it difficult people, challenging people. So I think it's really important to sort of define that most empaths think that everyone's like them, don't they? That you've got a deep sense of empathy, that everyone can be reasoned with, that everyone has a heart. When in actual fact, I was alarmed at the statistics that about 5% of people, apparently, this is the statistics that we can get online, 5% of everyone is psychopathic or narcissistic. Either way, they fall in the category of no empathy.
Whoa.
People that don't have any empathy. And the worst part of this is that these 5%, they're very good at pretending that they do. Because the average narcissist on a good day presents as your best friend. But on a bad day, they are the nightmare from hell. They are the absolute nightmare. All of your Armageddons arrive at once, and it's like, where did that come from? This person's meant to be my friend. This was my friend. We've been out. I had a heart-to-heart the other night, and now they're taking all the personal stuff that I told them, and they're absolutely crucifying me with it. Where did that come from? How did that happen? They must be having a bad day. And this is the problem. This is where the lack of boundaries start, doesn't it? We make excuses for bad behavior. And I think, certainly our generation have probably done it all our life. And it's that compression of all of these slights over years and years and years. And, it reaches a point in your life where you just say, right, that's it. Enough's enough. And it's not just a single slight that you're dealing with. It's a lifetime of all of this nonsense that's being compressed like a volcano, isn't it? When the awakening occurs, it's like a volcanic eruption of enough is enough. Right, that's it. Enough is enough. My boundaries have been pressed one too many times. Not again. It's that wake-up call, and unfortunately, it takes us, well into our 40s. Some people in their 50s and 60s to wake up to this. That where is the point? Where is the point where you wake up and just say, no, enough is enough. No, I'm not going to help you today. No, I've been there. I know I helped you every other time you asked, but no, I'm not doing it because you wouldn't do it for me.
Yeah.
You didn't help me. You've been. Challenge it. I'll rein in my language. You've been so no. The answer's no, and that's it. It's that clear boundary. You've violated my boundaries one too many times. You've insulted me one too many times. You've hurt me one too many times. Now you're nothing to me. I'm not going to drop anything to go and help you, and I'm not going to even pick up the phone. I'm going to block you. Ghost protocol. But it takes all those years of slights for the average empath to reach that point, doesn't it? And that's why it's so difficult to do.
Yeah, and I'll go out to the audience and just ask you, listening to this talk today, Where have you seen where your boundaries have literally been pushed to the limit? Where have you've had to say no? And I know for me sometimes as well, it's taken a lot of pushing, coming from a British background, and relatively a good strict dad. It was back then children were seen and not heard, and so people pleasing, be a good girl, all of that stuff came through, and it's taken years for me to just actually be able to say no. Again, being married to a Frenchman has eased that process, because he goes, "Oh, you're so British, you're going round the pot." That's what he says. He says, "You're going round in the pot." Yeah, British people, they go round the pot. They don't go through the pot and say what they're thinking. You just go round the pot. And he says that all the time when I'm trying to deliberate, do I really want to go to that party or not? And he's really helped me go, no, and tune in and go, do I want to go, or am I feeling that social pressure that I have to turn up? And I'm especially the last 6 months, I've got a lot better at saying no. And if you're not listening, especially those empaths out there, the universe is going to show you or bring circumstances to push you. And it feels like suffering when you're in that corner and you're working with someone that potentially is a narcissist. But when you come out the other side and you've put that boundary in place, spiritually, you've just gone up about 3 flights, because you actually learned to say no. And that is something that I think a lot of you guys out there that are listening, you are still either working on that or you've gone through some. And there's always going to be someone to come and push your buttons, no matter where you are in life. You do another thing. And even this week, I love my family, but it was such a simple thing about you're gonna laugh now. It was just a really simple thing, but it set me off. We got this carrot cake, and we'd been running around. I had clients coming, so I said, just put the carrot cake in the fridge. We'll have it later. And I was upstairs trying to text everyone because there was an event happening. I was dealing with the event, and I came down and they'd started the cake. And I was like, we were all going to finish everything we're supposed to be doing, and then we were going to bless the cake and use it, because it was a celebration of lots of good things that have happened recently. And the so-and-sos had just got stuck right into it. And so my ego went, that wasn't very kind. I went out and got it. I made sure, the least you could have done is waited for me, and we could have eaten it together. I know it's such a really simple thing, but that was just like a little thing on the haystack where I just thought, I'm not being valued. And when I feel that I'm not being valued, the empath goes to one side and Dragon Master comes out, and it's like fire. And I explained to my children, look, it's okay to express emotion. Now, that I have to admit was a really small thing, but it was the little tiny thing that broke the camel's back. But all the other things during the week where they hadn't done when they were supposed to, I was doing too much. I wasn't putting my boundaries in place. So I went, you know what? I'm putting a boundary in place. Be clear. And so it took a lot of pushing for me to get there. But sometimes you'll realize, and I know that if you're asking yourself or thinking about your own events, people, it'll be that one thing that's not really super related to everything else, like Adam's saying, and it stacks. So when you take a step back and go, this is my new boundary, not everyone, but my family always gets shocked. When I put a new boundary in, they're like, oh, new boundary going in. But I'm explaining why I'm doing it and the reasons behind it, and then they get it. Now, with every person who can't explain the reasons, it's too longfold. But in your heart space, you're putting that boundary in. It's like, no, I'm not going to tolerate that behavior, because I deserve more. I deserve more respect. I value myself more, and I'm expecting you to. Again, that's not going to necessarily happen outside the family, but it's a good place to start. I know for some of us, especially in Adam's case, family are a very good place to start, and that catapults you into new levels of spirituality, understanding, and being a recovering empath.
Well, you've actually nailed something really interesting there, aren't you? I mean, because empaths care, and it's difficult. Let's just say putting boundaries in place is the single most difficult thing that an empath's ever going to do. And if I'm advising people that are younger than me, I say start small. Start with somebody that's just mildly irritating, and start putting boundaries in place. Say, no, I don't want to listen to this anymore. Stop going to break with them, or stop listening to their conversations, or the irritating person on the work that just sits down on your break and starts dumping all their problems on you when it's your break, that kind of stuff, little minorly irritating things. Or you can do it like we did and just have a lifetime of putting up with it, and then when you hit your 40s or 50s, just have a monumental explosion, and then it becomes really easy to deal with family members. Because you've had a lifetime of practice of dealing with nonsense. So it really depends. It really is that pressure thing, isn't it? We're constantly pressure, pressure, pressure. I mean, you just said a beautiful point about the cakes. Like, you've chosen that to erupt at everyone. What they don't see is the death of 100 cuts that led to it. So they're thinking, mum's being out of order, or, Amanda's being out of order, or my nearest and dearest is being out of order here, and, over a cake. And this is what people don't understand. It's never just about the cake. It's not about the final straw that broke the camel's back. It's about the 3,000 things that have happened over the last 30 years that have led us here.
And it was very, I have to say, it's very good cake. Carrot cake is amazing. Carrot cake aside, this is not the carrot cake you're looking for. So
we will not let them eat cake.
we won't let them eat cake. And yeah, I said, you're not having any. It's all mine. And you should have seen their faces.
My cake, mine.
And then obviously in the back I'm going, what would love do now? And obviously you have to renege a bit on it. But so what would you say to, I mean, there's a lot of empaths out there right now, and they're going through their own trials. What would you say to those now about, like you've already said one thing, which is start small, start putting those little boundaries in place with other people that, aren't your biggest button pressers. How else would you say, what else would you say is a good thing to do in terms of putting boundaries in place, especially for those of you that are in workplaces? I just had 2 clients on the call now, and they're isn't, and they have to deal with all kinds of different.
Well, this is a really good question. I think for empaths, because being an empath, you're sort of wired a certain way. So a really good place where I see a lot of problems caused is ex-partners or narcissistic people, blah, blah, blah. They keep messaging me. They never leave me alone. I'm like, well, why are you replying? Send one reply saying, I'm not answering this. I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to block you if you keep sending these messages, and then block them. Or just stop answering, stop messaging. Because one thing with the narcissist, once you're brave enough to separate, one of the things that will happen is the love bombing, the text bombing, or the hate bombing. They have to have you in their web. And every time that you interact with a narcissist, they win. It doesn't matter what the interaction is or how firm you think you're being. They win because they just want a piece of you. They want to know that they can still press the button, cause equals effect, still get the reaction, can still get the reaction out of them. And to bring that to life, I mean, I was speaking to a highly sensitive woman last week. She said, whatever I agree to, the boundaries move. Just want him out of my life, and I've agreed to give him this, and he said that, and then he changed his mind, wants something else. And it's of course that's going to happen. Of course, they don't want resolution. They don't want the clean cut. The narcissist wants their little needles in you all the time. They're never going to agree to anything. You think that answering all these texts, and look how he's triggering you. Look how I've only just met you, and you've spent an hour talking about this guy. I said, it's not bad enough that he's starting to ruin your life, but you're now encroaching on mine. He's encroaching on mine as well. I said, this guy's good. I said, but I know what I do, and it's very straightforward. It's very cut.
Adam's very good, again, from time of being an empath and giving so much to other people, healing people and doing all kinds of great things. He's got to the point where, and again, we sense who really wants to be helped and who doesn't. And you get to the point where, no matter how much you want to help someone, if they're not ready to leave a narcissist, they technically won't, and so it's, and Adam asked me once, how hard is it to leave a narcissist? And I've also had questions from hypnotherapy clients saying, can you change a narcissist? Now, in Adam's view, and I know he's dealt with a lot of them, it's not an easy task. There are a few out there that do want to change, but it takes an extreme amount of pressure and pain for them to realize kind of what and who they are. And along with, not every narcissist, but some narcissists do come with things like what is it, borderline personality disorder. I have quite a few clients who are married to or in relationships with borderline personality disorder people, and those are, I mean, I don't like medication, but if they're not medicated, it is a struggle, because everything you say and do is turned around against you. And if you do that for a very long period of time, it is soul destroying for the person that's in the relationship with the narcissist. Even though they love them and care for them, the narcissist doesn't see everything that they're doing for them. They can't quite, it's just not absorbed in the same way. So what I would say to you, if you are in those relationships, is you have to keep focusing on you. You have to do the self-care. You have to do that inner deep work to make sure that you are getting what you need, because life is too short to stay with a narcissist unless you absolutely have to. And most of the people I work with, once we get their confidence to a stage where, because a lot of them with narcissists had a narcissist father or a narcissist mother, it's a pattern. So when you understand that, you see, you're aware of it, you can break it. And I mean, the overall, in a nutshell, Adam, and I know you work with people on this as well, is just getting you to really love yourself and be very clear what those love boundaries are, because you are valuable, you're important, and you matter. And when you embody that, not just think it and know it intellectually, and you've read a couple of books on how to leave a narcissist, you really feel in your bones and your core that you are worth it, then it's very difficult to take the same treatment from the same people. But it's not an overnight thing. Even with the hypnotherapy and the healing that Adam does, you need to do it a few times. It's not a one-hit wonder, is it, Adam?
So true. You've brought up so many interesting points there as well. And I mean, we haven't even sort of broached the area of secondary gain here, have we? That everybody's got the friend that's always talking about the same problem, and has been doing it for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. And you've been giving them the solution for years and years and years. And it's so easy and obvious from where you're standing. But yet you stand the same stuff. It's just like recycling. And that's how empaths get trapped. You know, it's so difficult. I mean, it is a difficult thing. Let's just start with that. It's not easy to escape a narcissistic relationship. And I would never like to downplay it. Yeah. I mean, having been there, done that, worn the t-shirt, you know, I'd never downplay how difficult it is. Let's start there. But I mean, there's certain symptoms, some people just aren't ready for it. They're really genuinely just not ready for it because of secondary gain. Secondary gain is when you get more out of having the problem than you do out of solving it. And in many respects becomes part of your core identity. You know, that you can go in there and, oh, my problems are so bad. This arsehole has done this to me and blah, 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 blah. And that's how they get their energy. It's, oh, poor you, you're out. Well, you don't deserve that. You're much better than this. And that's where the energy comes in. And at some level, it's like, oh, yeah, I like that. Look at all this support I get through having this problem in my life. Do I really want it solved? Now, that you're not thinking that at any point. But that's
subconscious.
The energy dynamic that's playing out here. And as a therapist, me and you both know this, that before you do any interventions, you have to flush that out. You have to work out, does this person really want this problem gone? Or are they just looking for another scalp to say, my problem's so bad that nobody could solve it? No one could solve it.
And we do get those.
Best therapists in the world, and my problems were too much for them to handle, which is another brand of lunacy on the journey, isn't it?
But there are a few, and I've come across them as well, that they just, you know, their problem is bigger than everybody else's, and it's just, yeah, it's difficult to get through to them. Luckily, we both have the energy side, so energy work. We do have the conscious side, which is obviously the meditations and the verbal stuff, because Adam was a nurse before as well, so he can read and understand psychology really well, and obviously his parents were psychiatric nurses, so he has a whole different view on the psychology side. But we also come from the energy side, and what I find is when people are in that logical space, they're trying to work it out. You can't work the problem out from the level of the problem. And the great thing about the energy work that Adam and I do is the energy can go to those places where you can't get to, and it will heal those places that you can't get to intellectually. And so what I found with working with narcissists, if they're willing and a little bit open, then we can break open the chink of armor, and the energetic work will clear what the problems were. And in my mind, when I read them internally and I tune into their energy at a soul level, most narcissists, they didn't start a narcissist. It was layers and layers and layers of conditioning. Just like although I do think sometimes empaths are born empaths, because some of us have a mission and we came here to restore the balance. Maybe there's narcissists are sent to have the black and white. I suppose that's a discussion for another day, Adam. But the point is, energetically, there's a lot of things that can be solved without consciously trying to figure out everything and the way it works. The analogy I use with a lot of my left brain engineers and doctors that come to see me is, look, we don't all know how electricity works, but we know how to work the switch. And I think that's
exactly it.
People that are stuck, people that can't set their boundaries, people that are in narcissist relationships, is you might be having therapy in a different form and that therapy is not working for you. At least give energy work a shot, because I've seen in many, many cases when you really lift your vibration up and you value yourself from an energetic vibrational point of view, it will shift you massively forward. And then you have the courage to say what you need to say and make plans to potentially leave that narcissist or allow that relationship to relax out of your life.
Absolutely. That's it. It's a bit like energy is for people of our generation that grew up in the UK, Amanda, with like the Heineken. It refreshes the parts that other energies cannot reach or other therapies cannot reach.
I'm going to steal that.
The Heineken of energy work.
I love it. These are not the narcissists you're looking for. Any of these Star Wars people, we're going to use that in every single episode, I think.
For sure. I mean, I always tell people when I work with them, you have to prepare, because energy gives you what you need, not what you want. And very rarely do the two align. I think a lot of people come into the world of energy. I certainly did. I mean, one of my biggest mistakes was thinking, oh, I need more energy. I want to feel great. But when I started working with energy, all it did was make me feel absolutely and utterly shit, because I was so deluded as to what the actual issues were that I had to be dragged into the pain before I could see what the problem was. And that's it gave me what I needed, not what I wanted. So, it's very mysterious. And I hear all the time, oh, I had Reiki once, but it didn't work. When I hear people say that, that's a bit like saying, oh, well, I showered once, but it didn't work. That was 6 months ago. I'm minging now. Look, it didn't work. It's the same thing, energy's like a constant. It's constant work all the way through your life. Anyone that thinks you can do a session or two and that's it, sorted, problem solved. There's always another problem. There's always another deeper level of stuff to deal with. And anyone that's deluded enough to think, oh yeah, well, that's it, I'm done. I'm done. Well, that's a long and painful route of discovery for many people.
Yeah, well, we've both talked about that, because obviously we're both therapists, and because I have a good reputation here in Mexico, a lot of people think that I can solve everything in one shot, which in many occasions I do. But I use the same analogy because I get yoga teachers as well that come and I'm like, do you just give somebody one yoga session? And they're like, no. It's what I do like to think of is to get like a three session boost, and they can coast for a little while, and then things will pop up, because we are layered beings. We are like onions, and so things will pop up, and some other of those layers have got to come off. But I do think for those empaths that are out there, there is a way forward. And I think Adam and I, we like shortcuts because we're both over 21, and energy has been the shortcut for both of us. I think in a lot of ways we could be studying psychology and self-improvement and all of that stuff for another 50 years and maybe still not have the learnings that we've had. And when you open up to energy, and when we say energy, I'm just talking about that power within. We are energetic beings, and the more science pulls into this, the more evidence comes out that we are energetic beings, and there's scientific proof now. There's so many machines that measure our energetic field, and even consciousness now is technically being measured, and AI is now being tested and saying, are you consciousness? And there's so much information out there regarding the power that we have and the energy that we have to really set those boundaries in place, not just energetically, but mentally, and pulling on the energy from things that are external to us, like the quantum field or the divine or source, whatever name you want to call it. And we are kind of the guides to make sure that you can plug into that source, because there's so much information that you have inside your own body and energy field. We're just here to guide you and get you to call in that information. And for many of you out, for any of you that are watching this video, you've been called to watch this video. It's landed in your lap for a reason. So wherever you are on your boundaries journey, there are better ways, shorter ways to get those boundaries in place and really value yourself. But you do need to have the courage to face yourself and try something different. If you haven't tried energy work or hypnotherapy or the other energy work and stuff that Adam's doing, then, you know, reach out to us, because we have a conversation with you, have like a 15-minute conversation about how we can help. And then if we resonate with you, you'll feel whether we're the right people to work with or not. And then you can take it to a session or sessions, or Adam's got some training that he's running right now as well. And you can really up a level, because for you to find this video, you're in some level of pain or discomfort of where you are now. And we're here to make sure that those boundaries are in place, so you get to experience life in a whole new way, without the stress, without the narcissists, and having boundaries that really build who you are and get what you want in life. Adam.
Well, fair play. And I will say, for the record, I've worked with Amanda. I've known her for many years, and she's brilliant. She's the best there is. And certainly, I mean, we all hit blocks, even us that teach it. You know, that's part of the journey as well. We're all teachers, and in many ways students as well. And the only way that you get through this is by having the right network, the right people that you can bounce off, the right support. Everybody needs it. Nobody can do it on their own unless you are an enlightened master. And I don't know many of them. I don't.
No, we don't. But, you know, again, Adam does a lot, is a very strong energetically, and he runs some courses. He also does one-to-one work. So if Adam is resonating with you, please, I'll put his link below my video, as I always do every week. Please reach out to him, have a chat with him. And if any of you need someone to speak in an event, Adam is an amazing speaker, MC as well. He's multi-talented. As you can see from our conversation today, he's always got a story and always got a fabulous joke in there somewhere. So if you're looking for a great speaker, then Adam is also your man. So Adam, I know that we're kind of running into our 30-minute mark. We try and keep it short and sweet for people, and keep it focused on value and making sure that we give them some kind of homework. So what homework would you give them in terms of putting those boundaries in place?
Well, here's a bit of homework. I think is a good place to start. One of the exercises I get people to do is called a phone shui. Now, go through all of the numbers on your phone, and without even doing anything or taking any calls, how would you feel on a scale of 0 to 10 if they phoned you right now? And if there's anyone less than a 6, delete them. Because energetically, you're clearing the energy of your phone. And if there's anyone that's less than a 6, what the hell are you doing with their number? So there's a little challenge for you as setting boundaries. Start there.
Okay, and my piece of homework for you as well is, when you're in conversations or you're in a room, you're dealing with someone and you get that sinking feeling in your tummy, I want you to be very aware of how people make you feel. And again, I'm gonna steal Adam's scale there. If you're getting that sinking feeling, then that's way below a 6. That's 5 and below. Do you want to be spending more time around that person? If you're feeling more alive and more happy, I would say it's at least a 7 and above, then you want to spend more time with that person. So just think about ways you can start to remove people in your life. The universe tends to do it automatically. As soon as you start really working on yourself, people drop out of your field anyway. But this is more of an awareness exercise. So be aware of how people are making you feel, and don't take their shit. If they're giving it to you, it's time to just say no. It's time. Okay, we're here to give you that message today. We hope you got it loud and clear. Any other final thoughts, Mr. Adam Shaw?
Well, you will feel better when you start clearly setting your boundaries and saying no to nonsense.
Or better you will feel, as Yoda would say.
You will feel when nonsense, you say nay.
Yes, And obviously we won't be talking on May the 4th. So we're going to get the May the 4th jokes in now, which is May the 4th be with you in about 4 days' time. And for everybody who doesn't know Adam, he's going to be a birthday boy tomorrow. So we're sending advanced birthday greetings through the quantum field to you tomorrow for your 22nd birthday.
Why, thank you. That's very kind. Thank you very much.
In advance. Yeah. So thank you for being here with your awesome presence. I know we could spend. We're going to do more about narcissism because a lot of people have been asking about it. So we will go into more topics about that. But let's save some material for our next call, which will be, I believe, potentially next week. We'll keep you posted and put it on the socials. So we'll let you know when our next chat will be. And if any of you got some comments or suggestions on things that you would like solving or discuss, please put them in the comments below. We'd love to have your feedback. And Adam and I love putting the worlds to rights and giving you our best knowledge. We are the oracles of now. So please put your comments below and we will get back to you with the advice and ways to get over it, ways to overcome it. Okay, Adam, well, thank you for being here. Thank you for checking in on us, everyone. Lovely to have you here. Thank you for your presence, and we expect you to be doing your homework, and please put that underneath the comments as well. All right, take care, everyone, and we'll see you on the next episode really soon. Lots of love from me and
Take
Adam.
Care. Bye. Thank you.
And we're still live.